In our world lead, the Afghan government could collapse just 6 months after the U.S. heads for the exits. That's according to a new intelligence report obtained by the Wall Street Journal. Joining us now is Texas Congressman Mike McCaul. He's a top Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, as well as a Green Beret who served in Afghanistan, Daniel Elkins. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Congressman, let me start with you. What's your reaction to this intelligence assessment? Is this withdrawal doomed to mean that the Taliban take over?
Well, I think the intelligence community has had a very different point of view from the State Department. The IC assessment's very grim. And I tend to agree with them that once our military finally pulls out, will be the end of July, they're really at the mercy of the Taliban. And they're already launching a spring offensive. And when our military or when our troops withdraw at the end of July, I think you'll see a complete takeover of the country. Which gets us to, Daniel's story about the interpreters, that we promised we would get them a special immigration visa, and yet we haven't done that yet. It'll take about a year, at least a year to process. So we have to really evacuate them out of country to a safe country where we can process the visas.
Yeah, and that's why I had you on today. Both of you joined a bipartisan and urgent push on Capitol Hill, calling on the State Department to expedite these visa applications for these thousands of Afghans who put their lives on the line for the U.S., providing crucial services such as translating, many of them now being hunted down, some even killed by the Taliban. Daniel, as somebody who fought there and no doubt lost friends there, what's your reaction to the fact that as of now, the United States has still not made good on its promise to help these Afghans who helped people like you?
Yeah, well, we're very concerned. And, as the founder of the Special Operations Association of America, I hear from many operators who are still in contact with their interpreters, and they're having problems and they are scared. And these interpreters risk their lives to serve alongside of us. When I was in Afghanistan, I had the pleasure of knowing a young interpreter named Johnny, and on one of our missions, he sustained a pretty severe gunshot wound, and we rendered aid to save his life, and he survived. And months later, he was back wanting to do his role and job again because he so believed in what we were doing. And that's the type of commitment that these people have had to us, and we need to hold our commitment to them.
And Congressman McCaul, you and I have been talking about this for months now. You have said that the Afghans who are waiting for these visas to be processed, they should be evacuated right now. Now, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the White House is doing, quote, extensive planning for potential evacuation. Have they given you any specifics?
Well, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin testified today, along with the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Milley. They have developed a plan of evacuation, and it's up to state to find the safe country that we can evacuate them to. The one thing that's very clear is that they can't expedite the processing within 2 months. And that's the timetable we're on right now. So it seems to me the only decision to be left to made is by the president himself. I'll be meeting, with the White House tomorrow on this topic, and the commander-in-chief needs to make this decision. He made the decision to withdraw, and we accept that, but we have to protect the people who protected us over there, like people like Daniel. No man left behind, no one left behind. We have a moral obligation to protect them because they will be in the bullseye of the Taliban if we leave them behind.
And Daniel, you're no doubt watching the map, as I have been. 50 of Afghanistan's 370 districts have now fallen to the Taliban since May, according to the UN. A peace talks negotiator tells CNN that it caught the Afghan government off guard, this offensive. Just talk to us about how urgent the situation there is for these special visa applicants, not only considering the pending exit, the withdrawal of U.S. service members, but also the Taliban offensive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are literally hearing daily from interpreters whose lives are being threatened as we speak. They are in imminent danger, which is why we must explore every option we can to get these interpreters and their families out. And if that means a safe haven before domicile here in the United States or in Europe, we need to make that happen. And we need to work collectively with our NATO allies as well, because these interpreters have helped and served right alongside alongside of them, just like they've served alongside of us. But there are significant concerns with the security in Afghanistan, and once the U.S. does permanently withdraw, that security concern is going to drastically increase.
So I want to thank both of you for being here, and I want to tell you we're going to continue to cover this. And if these Afghans get slaughtered, we're going to cover that too. Our coverage and focus on this is not going to stop.